I'm Ted Bird, social media coordinator for Respect Canada, and I'm joined by Bruno Plourde, a 40-plus year veteran of the Canadian Armed Forces, twice the commanding officer of the Royal Highland Regiment, Black Watch of Canada, and now heading up Sentier, which helps homeless veterans try to get a roof over their head. Bruno, thanks for taking the time to join us.
No, I'm happy to be with you.
I want to throw a number at you, and maybe you can help me understand it. I read that 4.4% of the homeless population in Canada are veterans, and yet veterans make up 1.7% of the overall population. What is it that predisposes people transitioning from the military to civilian life to the risks of homelessness?
Actually, at first, I would say from the onset, numbers sometimes could be deceiving. One of the things that I found out, although it's alarming, and there's way too many veterans in the street, it's difficult to find what was the protocols or the way the people doing the census about the homeless vets, what was the data they use to qualify somebody as a veteran. If you take any other group, let's say if you're male, female, Black, First Nation, Inuit, whatnot, by hearing you or talking with you, you can actually sort be with them, can sort it out. But how do you qualify if you find somebody in the street is an actual veteran, is saying it to you, but what is your control method? Maybe I will tell you I'm a veteran because I want to have coffee, or I want to talk with you because I'm feeling lonely, but I got absolutely nothing to do with the Army. But I'm just so happy to talk with somebody. I will say yes to whatever you shoot at me.
So you're saying those numbers should be taken with a grain of salt?
I see grain of salt on the statistics level for researchers, but alarming all the same in reality because they're human beings. They need help. So find them is one thing. To answer now your question with that context is, you're going from a society, a micro society. Let's face it, the Army is a micro society. We're in a group within a group. We're taking care of each other is paramount. The we is more important than the me. And to a point, if you're not careful, the Army will take care of you. They will pay the rent if you live in a military subsidized housing or military housing. It's out of your pay. You don't have to find a doctor. You don't have to pay medication. You don't need to find a dentist. It's on base. Somebody at the pay will take away exactly the right amount of money to pay your taxes to make sure that you balance to zero at the end. So you basically don't have to worry about anything. That's great and dandy when you go overseas. You don't have, everything is done for you, even your career. You're talking to a career manager, but they decide where you go, when you go. They repay your moves and whatnot. So you can basically go with the flow for 20, 30 years and not face the key part of what I'll say normal people of the other society have to play with. So all of a sudden you get out of the Army. You've been told for the last 30 years by politicians, generals, commanders, you're the best thing since sliced bread. I never saw an exercise that was not a success. I got a decent pay. So I'm a rock star. The media, my boss are all telling me that I'm doing the greatest job on earth and everybody's proud. You get out of the Army and you realize that although you got a full rack of medals, you've been around the world and you saw way too many things in your life. You say, hey, I was in the infantry, let's say with the Vandu or with the Black Watch. The employer was, and so that myth or that conditioning that the last 30 years saying that you're hot, you're good, keep going, all of a sudden doesn't exist anymore. So what is your place in society?
So on top of having everything taken care of for you, or most things taken care of for you, to what extent is that compounded by the experience that military personnel have, particularly when they're on deployment?
But it's compounded by it, and you got the habit of it, and it's always a dependable source of revenue. It's always a dependable. It's a control environment in a very good sense. So when I deployed, for me, it was almost vacation. I got father of two, now father of four, no responsibility whatsoever, no snowblower, no lawnmower. All the things that we do almost like robot as a routine is not there anymore. So a deployment just reinforced the fact that, hey, taken care of. All of a sudden you get out, although you got all these survival skills, now you're talking with people when you're out of the army, and you've been around the military a bit. All bunch of acronyms. We know what they're talking about. There's a comfort zone. There's a comfortable environment. On the radio is the same thing. You're talking your own language, and all of a sudden, it's gone. All your friends you've been so close with, and even recently through combat in Afghanistan and other places, all of a sudden they're not there anymore. Who do you talk to? And the people you talk to, do they understand what you're saying? It's like speaking Chinese. You heard military talking with acronyms, you just let it go and you wait for translation. So you got all that together. So people that don't really understand where we have been, you have to take control of your life, like really control. You're not a rock star anymore. And whatever happened to you, compounded or one event, PTSD or any other thing, they all hit at the same time. And when you realize you need help, now you're facing, let's say, I need a doctor. How long do we have to wait for a doctor in Quebec? A family doctor.
Yeah.
Years. What does Veterans Affairs, and rightly so, ask for before giving you benefit? A paper signed by a doctor saying you actually, there's something wrong with you. So nobody to help, no professional that can actually accept, you don't have access to professional to help you, one, to understand what the hell is happening. And second, how to help you to get better. So some will cope with it. They will have a good family, a good social network. Some other no. So, and then you can add up all let's call it the slices of normal society with addiction, previous mental health, family history, name it. So why the military got all that? It's because that extra slice of service, it's too much for some of them. And they didn't have the tools. You go to a second career seminar, I will explain to you that by PowerPoint, one after the other for 3 days. What are your benefits? How much will you will be able to absorb? I'm pretty sure after an hour of PowerPoint, one after the other with numbers, your brain dead. So you just lost 7 hours of information. So do that for 3 days. Basically, you retain 10% of the information I provided you.
Tell me about Le Sentier, its history, and how you got involved.
Le Sentier is an offshoot or a 2.0 version of an organization called Maison Plourde. Maison Plourde was created in the late 70s to provide affordable housing for veterans and their widows, mainly aimed to Second World War Korea at the time. And Maison Plourde, through the years, got some property and was successful at providing that housing. As these, it's called them traditional veterans, for the lack of a better term, passed away slowly, there was no recognized veteran by VAC because Bosnia was not recognized until very recently. Afghanistan wasn't there. There were no really small missions. So basically, Maison Plourde was managing residence for seniors. So they decided to make a step and saying, okay, let's go back to our roots and see how 21st century veterans are coping and how could we help them. So the Sentier or the trail was born. And our aim is to provide support, transition support, and overall support to vets that are in need. We offer services can go from helping filling a form that is not really clear from Veterans Affairs or in provincial services. We're offering a peer-supported music program, mainly with guitar. So if you're by yourself, you don't know how to express your emotion, you don't know how to take with buddies that you lost track of, you can come and through the music and actually start talking with other people. And sometimes military, sometimes civilian, and it just helps you to wrap your mind about what's happening to you and be able to talk with people about your concerns.
That's really interesting. I wonder how many guys came back from the Battle of the Atlantic or D-Day and played the guitar.
Yeah,
as a means of therapy. It's come a long way, eh?
Exactly. Music is always suited the soul. Some people with death metal and industrial metal can sometimes might not agree, but there's always a music that will find somebody, and guitar was the instrument that you go through the culture, and it's a lot more quiet than bagpipes, let's say.
That's for sure. I've always thought, Bruno, and tell me if you think I'm onto something here, but what used to be, and I'm about the same age as you, and I knew guys, World War II veterans growing up, and what used to be grandpa doesn't like to talk about the war, it seems to me is now recognized as PTSD. Do you think that's a fair statement?
It is. It's a mix. It's a mix of PTSD and also a mix of fearing not to be, of course, the macho culture at the time.
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
Man doesn't cry, man doesn't move. And also a point that is also common nowadays. You can't understand. You were not there. Telling a story, smell are coming, environment, feelings, weather. How can you explain to somebody, especially at the time, Second World War and whatnot, how can you explain to people that didn't have the travel capacity that we have nowadays? How do you explain all these emotion and all these output and mention it? So the best way was to find somebody that was able to understand to the point where you can clean all the environmental stuff and talk about the actual issue. So if you take a D-Day veteran with a D-Day veteran, you don't have to talk about the waves. You don't have to talk about the death, about the explosion. It's a given. Then you can actually talk about you.
Right.
And at these moments of silence and crying and so on and so forth. So that did Afghanistan or Bosnia, it doesn't change. You will find veterans, will find common ground, but sometimes it's PTSD, and sometimes it's just, it brings back so many sad memories or difficult memories, even without PTSD. They don't want to talk about it.
I got us off track. We were talking about Le Sentier. Is Le Sentier both a program and a facility?
The Sentier is both, indeed. What I just told you is a program, the overall program, the full sequence, let's say the dream sequence, the vision of Bruno, let's call it like that, for the lack of a better term for the moment, was let's find a homeless veteran in the street. Where does he go? Oh, he goes to Maison du Père Michel Brewery. We're in contact with them. They're the specialists. They're the one that got the people that get it, how it works for homeless veterans. They got organizations like Soldier Helping Soldiers that patrol the streets and find these guys. My aim is when that first group of first-line people finds a vet, I'm there to help him out and bring him to well-being or better being in his life. The second block is the administration part or the management part and the isolation. The last part is basically you're in the society and you can come back anytime you want to help a fellow vet. So yes, they are all programs, and even at the far end of the spectrum, volunteer. A veteran can come and volunteer and help others. And we have partners like Equisance that you might have heard of. Equisance is a non-for-profit based in Mirabel in one of our facility. So we were asking about, is that also a piece of real estate? We have a farm in Mirabel, and Equisance is there. They're providing therapeutical equestrian therapy. So it's a social worker, horse behavior therapist, social worker, work with the veteran to make him or her go to a better space or better understanding of what they're going through and provide them the tools. So Equisance is there. I got the property, and we also have a service center. The service center we have in Mirabel, we have a copy of it on Monkland Avenue in Montreal, in NDG, in Monkland Village. The aim is basically come in and have a coffee. You're a vet, it's your home away from home. Come, have a coffee. I got somebody, I don't know the word in English, but the intervenant psychosocial, like a social worker.
Yeah. Interventionist. Yeah.
Interventionist that is there. So if it's something a bit more hardcore, there's somebody there to be able to help you out to find the services. If it's lighter, there's computers. I was talking about the music. There's a music room. You can go to scratch the guitar, change your mind, or just have a coffee and just talk to somebody. So 2 physical locations for the moment, one downtown in the center west in NDG, and the other one in Mirabel.
That's fantastic. That equine therapy, that's quite common, I think. I've heard of other organizations across the country who do the same thing with veterans. That's interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of, I found out there's a lot of variant of the equine therapy. Some will basically use a horse as I will say, as a mean to bring the vets and spouse or whoever away so they can actually go back being in contact with nature with basic stuff. Like if you take care of the horse will be happy. And it brings a routine and brings a sense of well-being or better being. Some other will use that for other purpose. In our case, I will say it's a kind of it's a therapy, but the core of the therapy is based on the psychologist. So psychologists can meet you, and after that, you will use the horse as reinforcement or an actual. The horse doesn't judge you, so it takes whatever it takes, and he feels whatever you feel. So you can lie to your therapist, but you cannot lie to the horse. If you're nervous, although you say you feel good, the horse will not want to be close to you.
They've got terrific intuition, don't they?
Yeah, and they're prey. So as soon as they see something that is weird, the first reflex is, oh, no, I'm not going close to that person. And so it's all that mix. So there are different approaches with horses. And I think it's the same line as overall zootherapy. For some reason, people like snake. I don't know what is therapeutic about having a snake in your hand. But hey, not here to judge. If it makes them feel good, happy for you. I'm more into the Indiana Jones type. Don't bring them near me.
Yeah.
But cat, dog, service animals, for me, it's all the same thing. Just so happen to have seen what horse could do with Equisance and their philosophy towards the veterans and the way I saw the change in veterans going through this therapy. And so we found a partner or a collaborator of choice with them.
Bruno, how and to what extent have Respect Forums helped Le Sentier with its mission?
Networking. That's where I met Chantal Soucy from Equisance.
Oh, okay.
That's where I met Dennis Chisholm for our guitar program. That's how I met Soldier Helping Soldiers, or the Quebec chapters. So it's to facilitate the gathering, it's a gathering of the souls, you call it sometimes. It's having people with like-minded approach and able to exchange. sometimes does the fit work? No. But at the same time, they will tell something that will start a question, and then you'll be able to better adapt. Yeah, the veterans. It helps at the academic community. Sometimes you will have one academic coming and say, hey, this is what we do. Great idea, or really, I'm not sure. But at least people talk to each other and go on. That's how I met la Fondation Québécoise des Vétérans. So it facilitates the synergies between the veteran support organizations.
What would you say to any individual or organization that is considering attending a Respect Forum?
Go for it. Try it. Talk to people. Find some. You have your solution to your problem. Fine. First, I think first thing in any community support is humility. The day you're certain of something, there's something missing. So keep being curious. Go, be humble, accept different things, different way of doing things, bring them together.
I don't know if it was Churchill who said it, and I might be paraphrasing it, but you just reminded me of an expression that I love. The most important lessons you learn in life are the lessons you learn after you know it all.
Yeah, not me, but that's definitely it. Is accepting that you don't know everything is the first step of knowledge.
Bruno, thank you so much for doing this. Much appreciated, and thank you for your service.
No problem at all, Ted. Anytime. Have a great day.